Hey guys, my name is Jordan Sheffer. I go to college at the University of North Carolina at Asheville, and I'm 20 years old. And today I'll be answering some questions about technology and how it's basically changed my life. So, what do you want to ask me?
So, how were you doing work at school before you got a laptop?
Well, I used to use a Braille note taker and a Perkins Braille writer before I got my PC. And essentially, I would use my Braille writer to do math, which took a really long time to do because it was all on paper and I had to look at everything and where things were placed. And I had to basically do division and subtraction and things like that, just like a sighted person. And it was not really fun. And also, my Braille note taker would be very limited in terms of accessing the internet or doing math. And even though I could do a lot of things with it, and more things than with my Perkins Braille writer, it was still just not necessary for me, not really what I needed at the time, especially in middle school when we were getting really busy with doing a lot of different types of work. So, yeah.
How how did your TVI participate in all of this?
Well, she basically would print out Braille worksheets for me to do if the worksheets were in print. And she would also send me digital copies of worksheets that I would put onto my Braille note, which was my note taker, to do as well. But she had to format them just for me, and no one could send them to me digitally or in the format that they wrote the document in. And so I was a bit of a pain.
And tell me the difference of those two things, of how you did work and how you do work now, and how having technology training with Dr. Robinson and your Tech Vision changed from what you did to what you do now.
Well, Denise has certainly been a huge help for me, because when I was in 8th grade, that's when work really started to get heavy, and I also was taking a higher level math class, because I guess I was put in a Math 1 class, which was a grade level higher than I was in at the time. And although I could do it okay, it was still really difficult because I still was really not used to having a laptop. And so Denise taught me essentially the basics of JAWS and how to get work sent to me digitally and how to put things into Word files and the basics of Google Docs and things like that. And instead of doing division and subtraction and multiplication on a Braille writer, which would take me about 15 minutes a problem, I would do it on a calculator on my laptop, or just mentally if I could do it mentally, and that would probably take me just around 2 minutes a problem. And also, I would be doing a lot of writing for my English class or my social studies class, and I could send work to my teachers immediately when I was done with it through email, which I couldn't really do with my Braille note taker or my Braille writer.
So essentially, you needed your TVI less.
Yeah, basically my TVI from that point forward. It's not that I didn't need her anymore, but she definitely kind of decreased her time with me because of Denise and because of how much I knew at that point.
And how much you could be independent, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about the Braille books? How did you do with books
No.
back before you had technology, before you had a computer?
was bad because essentially I had about probably 3 to 5 Braille books to take up one print book, if it was, say, a math textbook or something. And even if it was just a book I was reading for some type of a class assignment, it would still be so much. And, also having to read in Braille itself, even though I could do it, it would still be really difficult if I was reading a book that would, say, for instance, have a lot of, different type of English dialect or words that I just couldn't pronounce well, or really big words that for my vocabulary I just couldn't read. And so obviously when I got a laptop I could just download the books, and I could do that with my Braille note as well, but it still was not the same thing, because now I can read just about 450 words a minute with JAWS, and that means I can read a book pretty fast, and if I do need to slow it down I can. And also it takes up way less space. And I can also read books on my phone too with Kindle and stuff like that, so I can read the same book on multiple devices, which is nice in case I have to go out and see I'm on a road trip or something and I have to maybe read something for school. I can do that.
How did you ever use an iPad, and how did that work?
Honestly, I don't know if I can remember. I think very briefly I used an iPad just to sort of test it out. It didn't work. It was actually even more confusing. And even though some people I'm sure can benefit from it, for me it just was really confusing, and it was not ideal for me because the way the iPad is set up, the interface is just very hard to get down, and even with a Braille display hooked up to it, the commands can be hard to learn. It's not very easy. And also, it's a one platform thing. With JAWS, it works on every kind of PC, so you don't have to, try to learn new commands. And even if your PC may be built differently, it's still essentially the same thing, even if there are slight variations in how you use it.
Tell us the difference between how your teachers used to give you work before a laptop and after.
Well, my teachers would usually give me work in print, or they would, give it to me in print, and then I would give it to my TVI so she could scan it and send it to me. But nowadays, like I said, teachers can send me work, digitally, or I can go on like the online learning platform like Moodle or something and get the work right off the website, so I don't have to wait a day or two for them to send me something. And also with JAWS and other software nowadays, you can convert one kind of document to another kind. So for example, you can convert a PDF file to a Word file or a Google Doc file, and back and forth. And so that can be really helpful for me if my teacher has their files as PDFs usually, but then I can convert those PDFs to Word files and read them like that. And then if I have to do assignments with those sorts of files, I can do them and then put them back on Moodle so that my teachers can look at them there, or I can send them through email to them.
Tell us, how do you think you would be doing in college had you not had technology training with Dr. Denise, or the knowledge you and skills you have of JAWS now?
I think I would honestly probably be failing, because college is certainly, it's a very different experience from high school and middle school, and definitely there's a lot of work to do, and it's not that it's necessarily hard work. It's not the work that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's how the work is done and how the assignments are made and distributed. And like I said, everybody uses online learning platforms now, and everybody uses Moodle and Canvas and all these different types of things to where, we're living in a digital age now, and there's no use in kind of being behind because college relies on digital learning, and if you're not keeping up with that, and if you don't have the skills to be in a digital environment, you may as well just not go to college. And I know it sounds sad, but it's true. And so I think it's extremely important for people, especially at younger and younger ages now, to get acquainted with technology and with computers in order for them to succeed in school. I would even say get your 6-year-old kid on a laptop, because it's like, honestly, even elementary schools are getting into this route. Not as much as college, but certainly, it would be very, very helpful for a young kid to know how to use JAWS and to know how to use a Braille display. And, obviously start them out slow, but I definitely think it's extremely important because as the years keep going, paper is probably going to become obsolete within the near future, probably. And, classrooms and professors and teachers and mentors and whatever are going to start moving to digital environments, even for elementary school children. It's already happening. So it's really vital for kids to get started learning tech. And again, you got to start slow, start gradual, but do it, because
Start early.
pretty soon, within the next 10 years or 20 years, I can guarantee you that probably everything in regards to not only school, but work will most likely be digital. And I actually prefer that, even though there are a lot of people that say no, but I'm one of the people that says yes. And just try to get your child early enough into this type of thing. And there are ways to do it, and Denise definitely knows how to teach young kids, and she's taught people from 3 years old all the way up to like 30. So she has a wide range of skill sets and formulas to teach all ages. So
Well, thank you so much, Jordan.